Analysts excited by a $590 million investment from HHS to develop a bird flu vaccine. But that comes after months of uncertainty around the future of this space. The past 3 months, Moderna's down 26%, Pfizer down 8%, J&J around 12%. One reason could be HHS pick RFK Jr., an open critic of the vaccine industry. Could the entire drug-making space be facing an overhaul? Here on set to try to answer that is Dr. Scott Gottlieb, former FDA commissioner and a CNBC contributor. It's great to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks.
Anything you'd say on Moderna specifically?
Well, look, there's concern that the existing vaccine that they have stockpiled for H5N1 bird flu might not be effective against the current strain. The current strain that's circulating right now is a mutation. It's different than the strain that the vaccine was developed against. So there's an effort to try to develop new vaccines and potentially stockpile them. I think it's an open question whether the administration would actually go forward and stockpile a new vaccine, but certainly moving forward with the development, I think, is prudent.
Have Americans yet taken a bird flu vaccine? Is this something novel, or have we been here before?
Yeah, so we haven't distributed the vaccine. So the vaccine, there's an old vaccine stockpiled right now, and there's some discussion about whether or not it should be forward deployed to dairy workers because they've been in contact with cows that have been infected. This epidemic has been in dairy cattle in the United States. But the decision was made by CDC not to deploy that vaccine, not to offer it to the dairy workers, again, because there was concern it might not be that effective against this new strain.
Can they work quickly to try to develop one that is effective? Like with the flu vaccine, we know sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of people get it every year.
Yeah, there's a number of these vaccines that are in advanced development right now, including by Pfizer, the company I'm on the board of. They have a bird flu vaccine in development. Moderna obviously is going to move ahead. Sanofi has one. So there is an effort to try to develop new vaccines that are more closely formulated to this current strain.
On a serious note, I tweeted this out. A friend of mine, and if you're watching, I love you, diagnosed stage 3 breast cancer yesterday, okay? Close family members of mine have had it. Another buddy of mine just had a stroke. He's nonverbal now. Buddy of mine was in a hospital for 3 days, just got out yesterday or 2 days ago, RSV pneumonia. I know I'm getting older. I know we're all getting older. Is it just me or is everybody sick? Like the level of RSV, pneumonia, all this stuff going around, strokes, breast cancer. New York Times did a story on breast cancer spiking. Doctor, can you give us an answer as to why? Because you know where I'm going with this. A lot of people point to COVID and maybe even the COVID vaccine because they don't know. What is it?
Yeah, look, we don't know is the answer. Some cancers are going up, you're right. Colon cancer in particular, the incidence has been going up, particularly in young people.
Under 30, yep.
Right. So we don't understand that. Some people believe it's related to changes in the U.S. diet. As far as the infectious disease that's going around, we have had a difficult season with flu, with COVID, with RSV. Those rates look like they're coming down across most of the country right now, with the exception of norovirus, which is still going up. The strain of norovirus that's circulating right now is a new strain, so a lot of people probably don't have baseline immunity to it, and that's why you've seen so many people getting it and so many people getting sick. That's about the incidence of norovirus right now is probably 2x what it was in the last 5 years in prior seasons. So there is more of that going around right now.
Let me ask a difficult question. Did we hurt ourselves in some ways by avoiding stuff for so long that now these super bugs have been created? Otherwise, I'm just not sure what's going on.
Yeah, well, with the flu season, RSV, and COVID this year, the levels of infection weren't out of proportion to what we've seen from the historical norm going back maybe 10 years. There was a rebound after COVID because people were sequestered and a lot of these pathogens didn't circulate. I think we've worked through that and we're getting back to more of a normal baseline for these kinds of seasonal viruses.
Sir, what would you ask the doctor?
So the question, after COVID, when I'm not saying everybody did, but people got vaccinated, and then there was a pushback against vaccination. Are you seeing now people going back to get more vaccines, or are they kind of saying, hey, I'm not taking anything more? Are we seeing any data about that?
The data that we're seeing is that vaccination rates are going down, particularly for the childhood immunizations. You look at measles, mumps, and rubella, you look at pertussis, and in fact, we've seen growing outbreaks of those infections. And I think we're right at a tipping point, particularly with the MMR vaccine, which is what concerns me, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, where we're getting to vaccination rates that are sufficiently low that if we lose another maybe 5% in terms of the percentage of kids who are vaccinated, we could see larger, more distributed outbreaks. And so that does concern me a lot. We've seen a growing anti-vax sentiment, a lot of it from COVID. I think I've long said I felt the mandates during COVID were wrong, particularly the OSHA mandate, mandating that people who were had to choose between a vaccine and staying employed. And I think that stoked an anti-vax backlash that we're now working through.